Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's Board of Selectmen meeting. Today is January the 28th, 2025. It is now just after 6:30 p.m., and we are meeting this evening in the Harry Butter Selectmen Chambers, Norwood Town Hall, 566 Washington Street in Norwood, and we're also being broadcast live by Norwood Community Media, which the video of this meeting will also be available at a later date. Before I introduce tonight's agenda, as is our tradition, we will rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance and for a moment of silent reflection. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so this evening we have sort of a medium agenda, I would say. We do have a couple appointments this evening with our new veterans agent and our acting recreation department director, coming up at 6:40 and 6:50 respectively. At 7 p.m. we have an appointment with attorney Phil Mackey and Pat Corrigan regarding the 923 to 929 Washington Street proposed development. We have another appointment at 8 p.m. with Allison Dolliner, coach of the Norwood High School girls field hockey team. And we have a variety of new business and review and approval of cemetery deeds and some requests for the use of the common. Let's just get right into item number one. Item number one is the warrant signature update. Do I have a motion from the board?
Accept and file.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0 carried. And the next item is meeting minutes for the approval of the board from January 14th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Second. Any discussion? With that, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That carries 5-0. Very well. Before we have a few minutes before our 6:40 p.m. appointment. We have new business, 4.1. Mr. Mizuko, would you advise us? This is it is airport playground signage for discussion and potential vote of the board.
It is, Mr. Chairman. The airport, there's a playground at the airport recommended to be named the Tyler Lawrence Memorial Playground, approved at town meeting. We're just sort of putting it on both the Board of Selectmen and the Airport Commission's agendas as it's sort of airport property, but funding came through general government. I think it might have even been CPA, so it's sort of a CPA project as well. But there was money that came from the legislature for it as well. So just to make sure everyone's on the same page, we'd seek approval from both entities to so name the park.
Has the Airport Commission already?
It is scheduled to be approved by the Airport Commission. Scheduled to be on their agenda. I, from speaking with the chairman, do not anticipate any opposition or any issue there.
Okay. Any discussion regarding the proposed airport signage for Tyler Lawrence Memorial Park, the new playground at?
Just regarding the park in general, is it finished?
Very close. When Mr. White is here for his update, he'll be able to give the board a little bit more detail. One of those typical projects, the winter delayed the last piece of it. It looks like it's up and running. It's very close, but it'll be ready for the spring.
Great.
Just
Just
a
a
second.
quick, Mr. Manager, I mentioned last meeting about the 10 spots for the Tasso's restaurant, because people are parking there and the older people can't get into the restaurant.
Yeah, the airport manager's looking
Perfect.
into whether or not that's
All right,
possible.
that's it.
Okay.
Good job, thank you, Tony.
Yep.
Any other discussion from board members? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion from the board.
A motion to approve?
And seconded by Ms. Grow. Airport playground signage. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. And we move on to, we have a couple of minutes. New business item 4.2, setting the date for the May special and annual town meeting. So, Mr. Mizuko, for your, I'll turn it over to you with a discussion regarding the plan for the dates for the May special and the annual town meeting, please.
Sure, this is the one we have the least discretion over because it's set by bylaw, but we are, believe it or not that far out from annual town meeting, and we of course do a special town meeting. Based on our bylaws, we are looking at Monday, May 12th, and Thursday, May 15th for a second night for special and annual. Obviously, if we had to continue to a third, it would likely be the following Monday, but that ultimately is the discretion of the body. But it looks like town meeting will be Monday, May 12th.
Mhm. Any discussion? And Mr. Plasko, please.
Do we need, is this general or are we setting at the time?
We're
'Cause
setting,
we're having two the same night, we gotta set the times anyway.
correct, you can, or just setting the date, we know that when the warrant will call out the specific time. We usually do, I think, 6:30 and 6:35, open the
So
annuals.
another meeting will actually set the warrant
Correct,
and set the time,
correct.
okay? And my other point is I keep making, we don't set the second night,
Correct, it's,
town meeting does.
correct,
Once a meeting's called, it's town meeting body's meeting.
correct.
It's very diplomatic of you, Mr. President.
Well, in the future, we might just want to put parentheses that, assuming that something's within the line of, at the discretion of town meeting, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so we have the annual town meeting and the special town meeting, special and the annual set for starting Monday, May 12th. Do I have a motion to approve the date for town meeting?
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Lane. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, unanimous. It is now 6:38, and I know it's a couple of minutes early. Would the board, because I think the next item may require some discussion, would the board be, is Mr. Lennon?
He's here,
Would
yep.
you like him to come in?
Derek, why don't you come on in? You're getting here early.
Good evening,
2
everyone.
minutes, good evening. Derek, welcome to your first time before the Board of Selectmen.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you putting time for us to meet with you. We don't have any set agenda regarding your appearance here, so this, I think, mostly is just a greeting from us, and a welcome aboard from us, but also, I know you've prepared some notes for discussion to us, and we're here to listen to your nicely prepared statement here, and then I'll open it up for discussion with the board. If that works for you board members, we'll go that way.
Thank
So
you,
the
Mr.
floor
Chair.
is yours.
I appreciate it. If you'll allow me just a few moments to read through here, I'll give you some goings-on of the Veteran Service Office. Since taking over as the Director of Veteran Service in October, the office has gone through a seamless transition. Veterans benefits, both state and federal, have continued unabated. We continue to pursue all these claims for the benefits and assistance with due diligence and deference so that those who have served our nation and their families receive the attention they've earned. The primary mission of the Veteran Service Officer is to help those that need to be helped. Most of the veterans or their dependents who enter the Veteran Service Office meet the requirements for compensation and pension set forth by federal and state laws. It is the office's intent to ensure that all relevant information is handled in a timely manner and in compliance with the regulations set forth, and all claims submitted in a way that the evidence in favor of the veteran is undeniable. We've seen on average 3 appointments per week. It's actually after the new year, it's picked up precipitously. It's been maybe 5 now, and in the past 3 months, and as well as fielding several phone calls each day, and trying to tackle homelessness, mental health counseling, and questions about medical aid and quality of life issues. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 115, is designated for veterans and dependents with low income thresholds. It provides services through the office's budget for those individuals who live more comfortably within the community. Currently, we have 18 Chapter 115 citizens receiving these state benefits, of which 75% of the cost is reimbursed back to the town of Norwood. Within the last calendar year, the Norwood Veterans Office has awarded approximately $8 million in VA benefits to those deserving of them. All these benefits offer peace of mind and have a direct benefit to the town of Norwood by allowing our residents to continue to thrive while keeping fiscal revenue concurrent in the form of tax credits, exemptions, and annuities, which are compensated via state incentives. These programs keep our veteran citizens gainfully employed, healthy, and able to strive in their community. We had another successful Veterans Day this November, and the office is now looking forward to Memorial Day already as the next major event. Preparations that will begin probably in early spring. In the interim, outreach, coordination with veterans, local businesses, and organizations, and other municipal departments is continuing to ensure our veteran community is kept up to date on current events. A topic that is currently being considered for future approval is something called the Hometown Heroes Program, which are those banners that are put up along telephone poles and street lights with veterans in the community. And that's typically a optional thing, so we'll be looking for volunteers who would like to have their names up and their faces up. The office is taking the necessary steps to become VA accredited. That is slated to be finalized sometime early February, so we're looking forward to that. And the Veterans Office anticipates a continued stream of claims for benefits throughout 2025, and it is our goal to stay current on all new and relevant VA policy changes, as they will have an impact on the future claims processes. We will be steadfast and work closely with our Veterans Affairs and Executive Office of Veteran Services at the state level to ensure that Norwood veterans are given the dignity that they've earned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malmstrom. Appreciate it. Comments and questions for discussion with the veteran agent, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here. Welcome to your first official meeting.
Thank you for having me.
I've heard nothing but good things about the work you've been doing and firsthand witnessed Veterans Day. It's a great job.
Thanks.
Excellent job. Just a quick question on your report. You said that we're on the verge of being VA accredited. What does that mean for your office and for the veterans in town?
So the VA accreditation is, it's not like a typical accreditation like the police department would go through, but they have been coming to local municipality VSOs, veteran service officers, and looking to help streamline the process for filing claims for veterans, but also make sure that because there are so many veteran service officers in the state of Massachusetts, we do things differently in the state as opposed to many other states, that all 320 veteran service officers across the state are all in compliance, doing the same thing, taking the same steps and measures the way the VA sees fit. And so it doesn't hang up the process for claims.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Just great.
And some exams, I had to take some online courses and exams also to pass and become the accredited.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you. Any others? Ms. Grow.
So I don't have any questions to pepper you with tonight. I mostly just wanted to thank you for coming in to see us and
Thank
to
you.
welcome you to the role. We're very excited
I
to
appreciate
have
that.
you in. We know you have big shoes to fill, but we know you can do it. So
Yes.
just wanted to congratulate you and thank you for coming to see us.
Thank you.
Mr. Sad.
I want to congratulate you and thank the manager for bringing you up tonight. I think we should have every director or chairman or supervisor in front of us so people can see who you are. I know you're going to do a great job. Keep up the great work.
Thank
I
you.
look forward to marching in the Memorial Day Parade and make Norwood great again.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sad. Mr. Plasko?
Well, you have big shoes to fill,
Yes, sir.
both Mr. Mulvihill and Mr. Thomas
Yes.
before him.
Yep.
But all reports are good so far. It's early yet, but you just need to know that we're here as well, the
Yeah.
general manager, to assist in any way we can in your
Okay.
efforts.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Plasko. Well, welcome again. The only thing I had noted here is just a follow-up discussion with you. I'd like to get together with you. Mr. Mulvihill was very helpful in the design and of the Morse Hill Veterans Memorial Project on
Yes.
my lot in Washington. And that project is just virtually complete now, and I'm looking to plan an appropriate rededication of the park, as it is a veterans park, and I will sit down with you and engage with you regarding the best ways to put forward a rededication to that park, which is much improved over the.
It looks
over the
beautiful,
way
yeah, I
before.
agree.
So, thank you very much. So,
Absolutely.
I'll be in touch.
We'll do that.
All right.
Look forward to it.
Is there anything else from the board? That was easy, huh? There you
Very
go.
easy. Thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
for your time.
We
Thank
only
you.
invite one person tonight, you're free, so the next time.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Yeah, thanks for
Enjoy
coming
the
in.
new year.
Thank you very much.
Sam's on deck.
Mr. White, we can take you early. You too. How about that? Welcome, Mr. White.
Good evening, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming in.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We can still say that's still January.
That's right, that's right.
We'll have to stop in February, though. That's.
We're borderline, yeah, that's it.
So, at this point, I'm going to first turn to Mr. Mizuko and have him formally introduce you to the board and the watching, the viewing public here. Mr. Mizuko.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have regret to announce that there is a typo on your agenda. Before you, the agenda says Acting Recreation Director Sam White. I am happy to announce to the board that as of yesterday, Sam has been promoted permanently to the position of Recreation Director, Superintendent of Recreation in Norwood. So congratulations, Sam, and welcome
Thank you.
aboard.
Congratulations.
Thank you, very happy to be in this position.
Yeah. So, Mr. White, is there anything that you wanted to just brief us on? Any updates or anything you wanted? The floor is yours. We have no set agenda with the Recreation Director.
Yeah, perfect, yeah, I did, I just wanted to give a general update on everything that's going on within the rec department. Basically just kind of starting back to the past couple months, again, we had a very successful Norwood Day 2024. Saw a lot of participation. We were very happy with the turnout, all the booths that we had, all the vendors that came to make it a great day. Last month in December, we did add a couple new programs to our guide. So 3 things that we did. We did our school dance showcase, the Nutcracker, that we held right in the Civic Center in the gymnasium. Brought in about 300 people, so that's something that we might be doing every single year. Murray Duffy Kid put in a wreath decorating program that we held at the OCC that entertained about 30 people. So we're very excited about that, and that's something that we will be bringing back every single year. And then another thing we did was it was a Come Meet Santa program that we partnered with the Sunrise of Senior Living here in Norwood, and something that we've been working on. And I know Marie Kidd is very, very dedicated of doing is intergenerational programming, which we think is huge. It goes a long way. It hits a different niche, if you will. So, those are 3 things that we did bring last month. Looking forward, our weekend birthday parties just started up in January, so we're packed every single Saturday. We have birthday parties going on from 1:30 to 3:30 every Saturday, and we're currently booked out until the spring, which is phenomenal. Next Friday, we are hosting our annual special Someone Dance at the Civic Center, which is we do every single year, of course. So we're looking forward to that. We have a DJ, some snacks. We're doing a balloon drop as always, so it'll be fun. And then just looking into the spring, our staple programs such as the Easter egg hunt, fishing derby. Wings and Wheels, Arbor Day celebration. So all these things we're looking forward to. We just started wrapping up our spring and summer guide, which will be online by the end of this week. And it will be in people's mailboxes within the next 2 weeks for our registration date of Tuesday, February 25th. So we're looking forward to that. And, bringing on the spring and summer, the warmer weather. We can't wait. And of course, what's the warmer weather without a new pool, as we all know. So, Haas is, it's continuing along. We meet every week. We have OAC meetings with Kuth and Ranieri and, CDI to go over, all their updates and where they're at. Currently, they are finishing up the pump room. They'll be finishing up the roofing. They're doing the piping underneath, and then slowly moving on to actually pouring the deck and the spray park, which then we will invite everybody out to formally walk on before it actually opens. So, and then for that date, we do have a date of Wednesday, January 18th at 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's a half day of schools, and that's what we have slated for our grand opening of Haas Pool.
What's the date again?
It's June 18th.
June 18th.
Yep,
okay.
correct. Yep, half day of school, just before school gets out, and then our summer programs will start up the following week along with our swim lessons.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. White.
Yes, thank you.
Questions, comments from the board?
Good.
Sorry.
Mr. Lane,
okay.
first.
Thank you, Mr.
Looking your
Chairman.
direction
That's
first
okay.
here.
Thank you, Mr. White, for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you've got an excellent way about you and really good energy for this position. So I wish you the best of luck. If you need anything from the board, feel free to collaborate, to reach out. But I know you'll do a great job, and thanks for everything that you do.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, and thank you again for your support.
Definitely.
It means a lot. Thank you.
Oh, great, Amanda.
Ms. Grove? Ms. Grove, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I also just wanted to congratulate you. I'm so
Thank you.
excited to
Thank
see you
you.
in this role. You've been doing excellent work in the department, and so I think we're in great hands, and I'm super
you.
excited. I get nothing but positive feedback from residents, just very, very happy.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
And nothing further from me.
Thank you, Ms. Grove. Mr. Sapp?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sam, I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
You have the it factor. I know you play football and basketball, but in football and basketball, you have the it factor. When you want something done, and I've been doing the fishing derby for a long time, you came along and just took the bull by the horns and got things done.
Yeah.
So proud of you, and you've grown in 2 years since the first fishing derby after the COVID. But are we going to stock the pond this year? Not the pond, the
I'm here for it.
we want to stock the pool.
Oh, I don't know about that.
What's going to
Maybe
happen?
at the end of the season, we can, get rid of the
April
chemicals.
25th is the fishing derby. What's going to happen with that fill in the parking lot? They're going to have that out of there by then?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good.
That'll be long gone.
All right, I can't wait to make a big statement with you at the fishing derby, but you got the it factor, and I'm so proud that you're here tonight, and
Thank you.
just
Thank you.
keep,
Happy to
Mr.
be here.
Manager, these new directors and chairmans coming all up. I love it.
Well, I'm never gonna schedule 2 new ones at the same time, because
I
now it's
know.
gonna be hard for somebody else to come in, and, that's been here a while, so.
And whatever you need, just talk to somebody on the board, and we'll help you out, the manager, whatever you need, is, you're gonna turn that thing whole around right now.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything, Mr.
Appreciate
Chairman.
that.
And I'd like to congratulate you too, Sam, for the work you did on an acting basis. You really have demonstrated some great capabilities and positive interactions with folks, residents and users of the recreation services. And I've only heard positive things. And I also thank you for the update about the June 18th opening of the Haas. It's going to be very
Yes.
exciting.
Correct.
It's
Yes.
in sort of in my neighborhood, so I often walk on the back of the Coakley and from the little ridge near the tennis court, I can see the activity occurring, so that's going to be a great day.
Perfect. It will be. It will be. No, we're really looking forward to it.
I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't aware of the birthday program, because we happen to have had a recent birthday here on the select board.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mr. Plasko, we apologize for not recognizing you at the rec center that particular day.
We can bring you in any day you want.
Bring the cake, number
Yeah, right. There we go.
So welcome again. So, yes, Mr. Plasko.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Plasko, I jumped the gun and spoke before you. My
Fine.
apologies.
I joined the rest of the members in congratulating you. Question though on Hawes, the pump room. It's a pretty big building compared to
It
what we
is.
had controlling the pump area before. Is that all that building is?
So no. So half of it's going to be the pump room. The other half will be maintenance, storage.
Just storage?
Yeah, correct. Which we do need, especially because with the alignment now of the new pool with our swim team, we will be having diving blocks being put in place, and they're not going to be permanent throughout the day. It's only going to be when the swim team is.
Where are they gonna go? They're gonna go the width, what I would call the width of the old pool, from the Washington Street back towards the,
No, so they'll go the length.
Go
So they'll
parallel to
go
Washington
from the
Street?
brook to.
what are they gonna
the-
do when they have the opening? Are they gonna,
So it's aligned where they won't hit the opening. So the way that the lines will go in the deep end.
it's really gonna be only a few lanes though.
Yeah, I believe 6. I believe they'll be able to fit 6. Yes. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Um,
I do want to
Yes,
know one
sir.
more thing. I did hear you guys. Thank you again for the Tyler J. Lawrence Memorial Park. So we do have we had set our dedication for Friday, May 9th at 1 p.m. That might change, as I just got word today that the Bernie Cooper Park will be opening the same day. So we might be making some adjustments there, but that dedication and grand opening will be early May, to be slated.
Thank you, Mr. White. Thank you for
Right.
coming in and giving us this briefing, and on behalf of the board, congratulations again, and wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Sam.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you all.
Sam.
Thank you all. Have
Take
a great
care.
night.
You too.
You too.
Thanks for those flyers, Sam.
Oh, anytime.
Thank you.
So we do have a few minutes before our 7 o'clock appointment. I'm going to skip down to item 4.3. This is a surplus property disposal policy for discussion and potential vote by the board. I would like to turn this item over for initial discussion to the manager, if I could.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Sure, absolutely, thank you. We've been actually meaning to do this for quite a while, as we're just cleaning up some of the different items in our procurement, in particular in our disposition process. We follow a process, anytime the town is disclosing surplus property, we have to follow the state's procurement laws in that case. And obviously, depending on the size and scope of the piece of property or equipment, that would depend on how complicated it is. We, for smaller equipment, we use a website called Municipid where we list everything. We try to get some money, even for what you otherwise might consider junk or something that just needs to be tossed out or recycled. So we just wanted to put in writing what the process is. The board knows, you probably noticed we've been bringing more dispositions to you. Our audit team always recommends that we have the board approve any dispositions, just so there's another approval process since the manager is responsible for the procurement. So this just outlines for processes under $10,000. The board approves a policy whereby we would handle it at a staff level, we would keep the board informed, we would go through our normal procurement process. Because technically, if we decide that we have some surplus furniture in a room, in theory, we should be bringing that to the board to say, do you approve of us disposing of these 3 chairs, and maybe we can get $25 for them. So we're just looking to make it a little bit more efficient for small items that we dispose of.
Off the top of your head, how often, I'm sorry, I should wait, but I'll ask my question now. How often do you come before the board? Do we get these? I see them once in a while, but do we have any information about how often?
Well,
the
you'd
board
be
has
seeing them a
them?
lot more if we were bringing the board everything that we're disposing of. Sometimes it's just small surplus equipment. Some of the ones that the board sees are a smaller dollar value that we wouldn't normally need to.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of smaller items that either get tossed out or we can get rid of that we'd be probably clogging up the agenda monthly with small dispositions.
So I recently saw police department and the computer.
Yeah, and sometimes there's really no value to a lot of that stuff. We're honestly junking some of it. We try to sell it and get what we can. You know, $20,000 worth of computer equipment we purchased 5 years later, we'll be lucky to get $100 for. And there's times where we're paying people to haul junk away, candidly. We just wanted a policy. We've never actually committed it to writing, just to make sure we have it in writing. And again, we have to follow all the state's procurement guidelines for disposal property, regardless of its value.
Questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Sutton?
Mr. Manager, the junior high, what's going to happen with the furniture and like the tables, chairs, chalkboards, things like that? Do they know what they're doing, or we know what they're doing?
So at this point, I don't think there's a plan to take much of that into the new building. If there's an opportunity for some of it to be salvageable for sale, it would go through a procurement process. We take pictures, we list it. I don't know what a value is gonna be in there.
No, some of the citizens might want to buy a desk for their kids or something in their basement or something, I don't know. We can maybe put a pile somewhere.
When we get there, we can
All right.
look at it. Again,
Yep.
the value using this particular website is, it's fairly cheap and easy, and we've actually gotten some good prices for really what is old junk, but somebody looks on there and says, you know, I'll give you $300 for it, and the town gets some money out of it.
Doesn't belong to the contract, it belongs to the town, the way it was bid, they don't. Sometimes it's bid to
For
make-
the demo, yes, what they'll do ultimately is, the challenge of a building that size, if there's nothing that appears to be of value, you gotta look at the time and cost of trying to sell a couple of things versus taking care of the actual building. If we think people wanted a desk for the Coakley as a memento, I'm sure we can arrange that. Don't know how lucrative that would be, but, and sometimes what happens too is that equipment gets sent to other buildings if they think they need it.
Yeah, I'm thinking the senior center or somebody that, clubs that might need desks and chairs and chalkboards or anything like that.
We'll
Maybe
make
just-
sure that a good disposition
Good.
list of all that gets sent around.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, any other questions from the board? I assume we probably have some past practice experience from when we did this at the high school, so it's not like this is the first time we've had a building that's been reconstructed with the existing equipment being disposed of. So-
Correct, and just to be clear, the policy is not related to the middle school.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Mr. Lane?
I was going to make a motion.
Okay.
Motion to adopt the surplus property disposal policy as presented by the general manager.
It's been motioned and seconded by Mr. Sad. All in favor
Aye.
of the policies, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And it carries 5-0. Christine. We can invite folks in now for a 7 o'clock appointment. Come on in.
Tony
Get
is.
some chairs available.
Oh,
That's the chairs.
Yeah,
I know. Live and learn.
yeah, go ahead. Hey, Sue. Sue. I'll give it to the chair. I'll give it up, the chairman.
somebody else can grab that one. You know what, we're gonna do the side seating, because it's a little easier. Folks wanna swim over here. Everyone wants to stand, it's gonna be a 4-hour hearing. Everyone wants to- Well, there's chairs available if everyone wants them.
Okay, with that, everybody's as comfortable as they can be. We'll, so this evening, we are a 7 o'clock appointment with Attorney Phil Mackey and Mr. Pat Corrigan regarding the 923, 929 Washington Street. We did meet at the last meeting, and we tabled the discussion for consideration of some changes that were recommended by Mr. Plasko and some comments I know I made at that time. And we invited the developers back in here to take us through their reaction to the comments that were given at that meeting. So, Mr. Mackey, Mr. Corrigan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Phil Mackey, 12 Washington Street, Norwood, Massachusetts. This is Council Foreign on behalf of the applicant. With me is Pat Corrigan, of course, the owner and hopefully developer of this property. So you gave us some homework, and we took it to heart, and we, to the extent possible, did make the changes to the building. If you would advance to slide 1, please. So, unfortunately, Mr. Sad, we could not just take away the entire right side of the building. It didn't work. However, what we did do is reduce the number of 3 bedrooms from what was shown previously at 10 back down to the original 6. And that let us fairly significantly reduce the right side of the building. It's not gone, but it is both narrower and further away from the street. And as you can see, you basically have 2 wings, if you will, with a fairly even further setback center part of the building, which would be right in there. And has an ADA ramp from the front. Parking remained pretty much the same, slightly more green space, and it did shrink the building. I can't tell you it shrunk it by orders of magnitude, but it did allow for slightly larger setbacks and a slightly smaller building. If you go to the next slide, please. So this is the first floor, and as you can see, basically on the right side, we've removed the hallway that ran the length of the building, so that did narrow it down some. The units have shrunk a little bit, but most of that was front to back rather than side to side. But what this does allow is to pull the building a few feet further away from the sideline with the gas station. Most specifically, because I know it's come up several times, there are 2 signs right here. There's a short one that's basically, you can see from the ground, and there's a larger one which now currently is above the building that's in existence now. The second sign, which is the larger or the taller sign, if you will, is approximately 7.5 feet away from the edge of the sidewalk. I have made an assumption, because we haven't mapped out exactly where the public way ends, but assuming that the public way and the edge of the sidewalk are one and the same, which seems to be borne out by the location of the buildings in the area. This building is now 14 feet back, so that puts the sign roughly about here. So by reconfiguring the building, both of the existing signs will be completely uncovered for traffic from Washington Street. I know that's not the be-all, end-all, but it has been a concern, and we were able to address it by removing the bedrooms and shrinking the building. So as you can see, it's still a mix of 1s, 2s, and 3s, and that would be the first floor. Next slide, please. The second floor looks, again, pretty much the same, and again, a lot of the space we picked up was by removing the corridor that had to go front to back. And as far as the neighbors in the back go, we have tried to step the building back, or in, if you will. If you notice, the second floor doesn't go all the way to the back on the right side, and there's a small jog back on the left side as well. Again, it's not a huge order of magnitude, but it was the best we could do to try and alleviate some of the concerns and cut down on the massing. And if you go to the third floor, please. And basically, this is a mirror image of the second floor. And the main difference being is the atrium, or if you will, entryway doesn't exist, so the 2 bedrooms go edge to edge. And that basically is what we did to change the building in response to your comments. We remained at 26 units as promised. We have shrunk the number, we've returned to the number of 3 bedrooms to the original proposal of 6. The building is slightly narrower. It is, at least on the right side, significantly shorter. And it is set back further from the street than it was even last time that we saw you. So basically the setbacks are 10 feet on that side, 14 feet on this side. And to the vestibule, which is in the very middle, it's 18 feet. So it's not hard up against Washington Street as was originally proposed. And with that, Mr. Chairman, respectfully I say that was the best we could do.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. Discussion, commentary from the board? I think maybe it's an opportunity also just to, since it's been a while since we first had the public hearing in September, just to kind of review the process for what we call a local initiative program, LIP. It's a state program under the auspices of Chapter 40B. And just to recap in terms of where this project goes, if it is approved, there is an application that you would submit to the state. Basically, you're looking for the state's approval of the unit for the affordability piece, but you need a letter of support from the Board of Selectmen. If that is approved by the state, am I right in assuming that the next step would be another public hearing with the ZBA?
Correct.
Okay. And that would be, that's down the line. I have no
Yes,
idea how
we're-
long the state takes to approve a local initiative program. Mr. Plasko, do you have anything you want to add to that? Do I have it right?
No,
You've
you
been
know the process, right?
Mhm.
The things that we would approve, if we approve it and send it forward, give a letter of support for them to apply to the state, would be some basics that we find acceptable or required as a minimum for the site. And as you pointed out, the zoning board holds the hearings and does the deciding on stormwater and plantings and all that stuff, parking, all those issues are the responsibility of the zoning board, not of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Plasko.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Mr. Lane.
Along the lines of what Mr. Plasko was stating, I understand the process. Do we have the ability to, should this be supported by a majority of the board, attach any conditions to our support, or is that, like you said, more, so specifically something like stormwater, or would that just be for a ZBA hearing?
Well, we can, I don't know, because we haven't done this before
Right.
in a long time. And usually those engineering things, we leave for the zoning board. We can make a comment, that we expect them to be fully in compliance with all the most current codes. And leave it up to zoning board to say how that has to be done, and, or the engineering. I don't think we want to get into designing and deciding
No,
whether it will work or not.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking more in the abstract of if a condition similar to, you know, the stormwater capacity is actually, the capture capacity is increased from what it is. Because I think our bylaws state that as long as it's not more adverse, you know, you just have to meet the current runoff rate, something like that.
Yeah, we could, if the board's amenable to that idea, wants to do that, we could probably put in a condition that they have to meet the requirements, and we can get the exact language, like from the 3A zoning and everything. There's language that already exists, so we put that in there.
So we have the
But
ability
that's
to
the
do
level we
that.
want them to, the level we want them to obtain.
From,
You have a problem with that, or?
No, not at all. I just was confirming with my client. We have to do that anyways.
Right.
Because this isn't a redevelop, I mean, it's a redevelopment, but it's a tear down, start from scratch. So we're gonna have to meet all of the current stormwater at match, so I was
Right,
just
that's-
confirming.
The law requires that.
And all runoff water is contained on site with culverts.
Right.
It's part of the new regs.
So it does no harm for us to say so.
None, none at all.
Exactly.
That's essentially what I was asking.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something on this end, but
Yes.
that's what we have to do, so.
I did want to just note, for the record, the receipt of information that we covered a little bit at last meeting in terms of public input, which was on the September 24th public hearing. But also since that time, we have been receiving written information in regards to the project, and I want to recap it just for the record. The members have it all at their seats this evening. We have collected, we have shared with the board letters of opposition submitted by Judith Howard, Chris Bartuca, and we also have received a petition, which I have here in my hand, and it's at the desk as well, in opposition to the scope of development on 923, 929 Washington Street. And my count is, Mr. Bartuca, excess of 100 signatures, if I'm reading this right, so 113. So we do have that for the record and at the table for the select board to have available to them. Okay, so essentially a no vote would mean that the selectmen wouldn't be able to support the application and you would not be able to apply. A yes vote means that you would go forward with an application with a letter from the town stating that the board has given its okay to it, and then assuming they accept that application, then you have a ZBA hearing for the variances, if you will, that are needed regarding the building. Mr. Plasko.
The state level, in a nutshell, they review the plan, they review for, that meets all, like, design standards and so forth. Like, these apartments have to be a certain size. Like, we might say we want it to be 630 square feet, and the state's gonna say, no, it has to be 700 square feet. So they have to be in compliance with whatever those state codes are. And they come out and do a site review, and they talk with the contractor, and if they think that anything needs to be adjusted from what we send in, or they send in with our support, that is different from what we state in our letter that we support, it won't go any further until the developer agrees with the state and this board. They'll send it back to this board to see if we agree with those changes.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Plasko. And one other note regarding public information that was submitted. I covered this last time, but we also have in the packet before you, board members, the emails from letters from John Winslow, the architect, regarding the building and meeting the state requirements for apartment size. We have the building inspector, Gary Pelletier, who has made comments on review of the redesign that was brought before us last meeting. And Deputy Chief for the Fire Department, John Cody, has sent us an email indicating that the North Fire Department is good on the proposed plan. So that's what we have for the record. So I think that covers the record fairly well. Mr. Sad.
Mr. Chairman, I was given this by one of the members, if you could pass you, there's 45 names on a different petition against it. So if you want to include that in the record.
We'll include that in the record. This is dated January the 16th. It is a narrative letter to us addressed to the manager and to the Board of Selectmen. It too is signed by the number you indicated, Mr. Sad. For the record, I'll pass this along as we continue along on our discussion points. Anything else to add? Any other questions? Mr. Sad.
I have a few of them. I appreciate it, Mr. Mackey and Mr. Corrigan, but I'm looking at the picture from the last 3 proposals. They seem to be getting better, so we appreciate it. The steel building to this building will match the building across the way. But I just think that it's way too big for that neighborhood, and I remember saying that reduce it below 20 would be a great number, but we're still stuck at 26, which means you need by code 72 parking spots. And that corner is a really bad intersection. I mean, all the statements in the record that I've read shows that that's one of the worst corners in Norwood for accidents. I think the fact that there's no parking on the main street for guests, the hill you gotta go up to park, come wintertime, I don't know where you're gonna put the snow, we got a heavy winter. I mean, it's just a bad corner. If you left that whole side out on the right side, where you did the back, maybe this whole group of people would say, great, looks better than what's there, we can live with it, the town can live with it. Me personally, and I speak for a lot of these people I think behind me, that's a serious problem, parking. Size, serious problem. Visitors parking, I don't know where they're gonna park. I mean, they're gonna park in Chris's lot, they're gonna park at the Cove, they're gonna park at Node Monument, wherever they can find a parking spot. The Space Center across the street. Kids playing, I don't know where they're gonna play. You got 17 2-bedrooms, 6 3-bedrooms. I don't know where the kids are gonna park on the hill or play. It's just a bad size and shape for that lot. And I know that the people across the way are gonna come back at us for 80 or 90 units. The strip up ahead, the white building's gonna come in for 45 units, I was told, possibly. We're gonna get inundated along that strip and Norwood with massive buildings. So my question is, if for 37 units for the developer, in Medfield you had 2.93 acres, but for Norwood we get 37,000 square feet for 26 units. I don't think they'll let you build this in Medfield, Dover, or Westwood. I just have a hard problem with it, and these people are here for a reason. I mean, if they could fill this room up and speak, I bet you they would fill this room up. I mean, there's 175 people, and I know Chris started on Friday with the petition, and the other one started the petition on Friday, and they already got almost 200 signatures within 2 days, 3 days, with this cold weather. The water, I talked to an engineer, I think in the water, where it's tied on the 2-family going up, you don't have to, my question to you last time was, where's that water gonna come down the hill into South Norwood? But I was told by an engineer that water doesn't have to be controlled, because it's already existing tar, is that correct?
That's, if we leave it as is, yes, but with this project, that's absolutely incorrect. It has to be contained, on site,
Up to 1 inch,
all of it.
all of it.
Yeah.
I don't see how you're gonna do that.
Yeah, well, we've done it in other projects. It's a huge context. It's a big expense, but it gets done.
So you're saying no water's gonna come in the back of that building, that parking lot, down that strip of the left side of the building? No water's gonna come down to the
No.
south, no onto the sidewalk?
It's all contained. It has to be.
Oh, well, good luck with that project.
Yeah.
That's why it has to be 26 units. We have to pay for it.
Well, that's part of the
There
program.
is it is. but
Okay,
there's
so
a
the water,
calculus.
are we gonna put a deed restriction on this to convert it from condos? Are we gonna make this condos down the road?
It's not the plan.
Not in the plan? We're not gonna put a deed restriction on this through the state, right?
Well, the affordable restriction.
The affordable, but not about condominiums.
No, you don't,
This
you
will
can't
always be a-
control ownership.
Okay, I just wanna make sure I throw it on the record. I just have a serious problem with this. I just think it's too big for the neighborhood. I think the board's opening up a can of worms for the whole town. I think this is a serious corner for traffic. There's no parking out front. I just don't see how we can support it as a board for the community. I mean, this community behind you is gonna get inundated. I know it's a great project, I know it's an eyesore, but I would hope that you'd come back with, and if you asked any of these people with 16, 17, 18, and 19 units, they'd be way more happier. I just think it's way too big for the neighborhood. That's the wood coming into South Node, it's going into Norwood Center. Everybody's gonna start hitting us with 20,000 square foot lots for 20 units. Doesn't seem right. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I know that we had vigorous discussions from the board members last meeting. Does anyone else want to reiterate their points or not? Mr. Lane?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here again, Mr. Mackey, and thank you for being here, Mr. Corrigan. I appreciate all the concessions that have been made and the listening that's gone on. In terms of matching the aesthetics to something that's similar to the neighborhood, bringing down the height, bringing down the size, all good things. And I know from some of the letters and conversations with people in our town, specifically with the building department, that you have a good reputation and for the work that you do and have done in other towns. So I think that if this project were to be approved, I don't think there are any concerns there, at least on my part. And we had a really nice conversation too, Mr. Corrigan. But I think for me, just to be short, I still think, unfortunately, it's the location for me that's the red flag. It doesn't necessarily have to do with anything that you've done or not done for the design. I think we're probably at the same position we were 2 weeks ago, where a majority of the board might still be for the project, but I really wanted it to be a yes vote because I do appreciate what you've done, but I just think it's a tough sell for where it is. If it were literally a half block in either direction, I think I would be an easy yes. So unfortunately for me, Mr. Chairman, it would be a no vote to support. And it's a tough one because the building there is in tough shape, and it's really been a blight since I've lived in the town. And if this project weren't approved, I'm not sure how long we'd be waiting for that, for something else to come along. And I think there is a danger with something dangerous happening with the current structure. So, yeah, so that's where I'm at, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Any other comments from the board? Mr. Plasko?
Yeah, I have opposite opinion as has been stated in the past, and I'm even more comfortable tonight with the changes that have been made. We gain a lot of area setback is aesthetically very important within the community. The fact that the second and third floors are going to be on the right-hand side are going to be shorter. The only one that's going to go back is that first floor. That helps with the aesthetics and the light and so forth will not be blocked. The sun will not be blocked from Honeydew next door and the drive-through and that area, and the house is right immediately in the back. You're that much further away from, that's all an improvement. As I said before, the traffic is a little bit of a concern, but when I compare it to what else might go in there, and I don't expect that it's gonna not be developed at some point in time, I don't think that this is any worse. I also philosophically think that the only place in town that isn't already developed or zoned to be multifamily housing is the Washington Street corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not concerned of comments that all these others are gonna come along, they may. But we take each one on its own merits.
Mm-hmm.
Its size, its location, its aesthetics, those are the things we can have input on, and we take each one on its own basis. I look down the street, and this piece of, I think my way of counting for adequate parking would be somewhere between 32 and 40 spaces needed. And I think they have 41, is it? The density is less dense than some of the developments we already have in town, much less dense than already exist. Just down the street, This is combined acreage of the two lots that they own and would be part of this development. It's only 0.84 acres, but right down the street, we have 20 units, and the site is 0.87 acres. They're only one-bedroom units, but they don't have the third floor and so forth. So it's a matter of size of the lots and what can be put there, and what was that, because that one's old, many years ago. But I don't think it's out of proportion. I think they've met the requests we've made to aesthetically make it pleasing, to blend with the neighborhood, so we have something attractive there and not an eyesore. What other views they have? The density was a big one. You know, if I was dealing just on people I know and people I like and not the merits of the issue and how it affects the entire community, I would be in that. These people, great characters, great personalities, all this staff is, the operation they run is top notch, but it's what's best for the town. And I think when we have to look forward, as I keep saying, what else might the alternative be for this site? I don't think we'll do better than this. If it was more units, you know, I was on the committee using the same consultant you're using for your town-wide master plan years ago when we did an affordable housing plan. And when we did that plan, the issue was we want to not say no to housing, we want to accept it, know that it's coming, we have to deal with it. But we don't want large complexes, we want boutique. And boutique is defined as 30 units or less. They started off at 40, they came down to 32 or whatever it was, we got them down to 26. We're in that boutique size. So I'm just, I hate that no one else in the area likes it. I'm in their business, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times a week. But I just think when I look for what's possibly the best for the town, that this matches. And like I say, the only other place I really want to support, if they had this proposal and it was around the corner on Capitol Street going further up, I'd be opposed because of the area and the neighborhood. But this is on Washington Street corridor, and I think that's a natural place for it. And again, that was outlined in our housing production plan as well back then. So it's kind of a town policy, and I don't see any reason to abandon it. So if we put in certain conditions and authorize the chairman to further meet with the manager and planning to see if there's technically some language that should be in there. We did one further down in Washington Street, so we want to make sure the right language is in there and a letter of support, but that they contain these particular minimums, then I would be in favor of going forward, giving them a letter of support.
Can I just make one quick comment?
Mr. Lane?
I appreciate your position, Mr. President. I think I agree with you that the Washington Street corridor, as it's constituted, this is a perfect project for it. I literally think the site, exactly where it is just the wrong place on Washington Street. But, and I appreciate you referencing the housing production plan and you know, fact-based things that the town has produced that this aligns with. So.
May I ask Ms. Grove if she had a comment, then I'll come back to you, Mike.
Yep.
Ms. Grove?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So often, and I mean this as a compliment, I often look to Mr. Plasko's read on housing projects, essentially. That I find that he's neither always saying no nor always saying yes. That he's very methodical and judicious and comparing, like you say, fact-based data. What are the pros, what are the cons, what's the long-term impacts? And he is essentially in alignment with my thoughts. Like I had sort of been kicking around the traffic concerns myself. I've continued to traffic through there with my car just to continue to get a feel for turning around, going to code, going in and out of code, standing in the driveway, looking at other complexes, like Mr. Plasko was saying, number of units versus the amount of people or the typical types of people that end up renting. And so I'm in alignment with Mr. Plasko's findings.
I just made one more clarification. I mentioned, my calculation was 32 to 40 parking spaces. I personally would not put that as a condition. I would up to the zoning board. They may say it's inadequate and therefore turn down the whole project. Remember, they're gonna get the final play. And if they think that's fine based on their practices in the past and their information, so leave all those details to them. Just if it gets forward, if it gets built, it's gotta meet these minimum criterias.
Mr. Sad.
I stated the last meeting, and I'll stand by it, that the people elected us to lead the town. And I think to throw this thing down the can to the Board of Appeals and let them decide on 10% green space, which we don't have tonight. All tile in the building, heat shield, Amanda. I mean, this is a project that, by law, you're allowed 2 storefronts and 2 apartments for each lot. And you're encroaching on the G zone in the back neighborhood. I just don't see it being a good fit for that intersection. As Mr. Lane says, it's the most dangerous intersection we have in town. And now we're gonna introduce 40 cars a day or night going in and out of there, and God forbid they try to take a left to head to Norwood Hospital. It's just a really bad 4-lane highway there in the front. And there's no street parking for the kids. And for a 2-bedroom, you're gonna rent it to a kid or somebody with an office. But I bet you there's gonna be a kid in there from my practice. And for 3-bedroom, you're definitely gonna get kids in the 3 bedrooms. So I just think that's, for one, it has no green space. It's got all the heat shield that we're not asking for, but we're getting it. And we're giving away the town. I really believe we're giving the town away for every developer to come back here and say, you gave it to them, we want the same thing and more. You got the place across the street's gonna ask for 80 apartments. They're gonna come to us with the same plan, we're gonna say, oh, sure, it looks good, but we'll kick it down the can for the Board of Appeals. You know, I just think that we have to make a decision that's good for that, as Mr. Lane says, you got the beautiful building in the worst location on an intersection. And I think that's hard, it's hard for me to say to these people, you know, who have to live near it and deal with it, you know, we're here for them. We're not here for a developer or any actor that comes from out of town. We're here for the people in Norwood. And this is my whole case. I can't understand how the state would even agree to this with no green space and a heat shield being expanded. I don't take the state for 2 cents. That's my whole fact. But I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank the legal team and Mr. Corrigan for being here, but I just think that it's too big of a building.
Thank you, Mr. Sad. So, you know, I had written down some thoughts as well, and I'm certainly consistent with some of the thinking that my fellow board members have had. I wrote down that I believe that no project is ever perfect. I think what we have here is a project that a developer has come in with a proposal that includes an affordability component. They have shown due diligence and cooperation with us to take from 42 units initially down to 32, down to 26, and then back again for some redesign that we looked at this evening. You're still standing at 6 affordable units, or is it 5?
25%, whatever that works out
Yeah,
to be.
so
Whatever round up.
whatever the number is, it is 5 affordable units, and that
Yeah.
That does advance affordability efforts here in Norwood, and that's the purpose of the LIP program for 30B, 40B. No project is perfect, and I don't believe this project is perfect. But I lived in Norwood a long time, and one of the things that has been consistently an eyesore to me has been that building on Washington Street, a building that for decades has sat there in that blighted condition on our downtown corridor. I believe that this project, not perfect, does address affordability. It will replace that blighted building with something that's new and modern, certainly a better design building than what exists there today. I have struggled with this. I appreciate the diligence that the folks here have given and your input. But to me, it seems that this is our opportunity to redevelop that spot. And if we do not do this with this, albeit imperfect project, there's a possibility that building will stay there in that condition for years to come. And I think that if that should happen, I think I would personally regret the decision made this evening not to go ahead with this project. So that's my input. I appreciate the input that each member has given here this evening. I think we all have discussed it over several meetings. And at this point, I will ask the stated question as to what is the will of the board.
May I ask just a point of clarification?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If this project is approved to move forward to the Zoning Board of Appeals, the public hearing process there would be similar in that neighbors, constituents could go to this public meeting and ask similar questions?
Yeah,
or make-
the 40B process actually spells out
Yeah,
the public hearing process, and I think it's 300 feet distance and so forth. People have to be
abutters.
directly abutted, notified, advertisements, so on and so forth, hold the hearings. It's the exact same process that had to be used for Upland Woods, Avalon Bay.
Got it.
You know, it's follows the entire 40B process, once it gets to the zoning board, if it gets to the zoning board.
thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. So with that, do I have a motion from the board? Mr. Plasko.
Move it along. I'll make a motion to approve a letter of support for the project with the conditions that the exterior facade be in accordance with the plan stated 1/23/25 by Windsor Architects, that the exterior as shown on the plans be brick with white accents, that no more than 26 units will be developed in the project, and no more than 6 of those will be 3 bedrooms. That 25% affordability acceptable to EOHLC in perpetuity will be required.
Mr. Plasko, to an earlier point you made, do we also want to add any detail regarding our consultation with our planning department on the final application?
Yeah, I guess I want to start it with approving the letter and authorizing and directing the chairman to meet with the planning to finalize the letter of support, as long as it contains those minimum criteria.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on Mr. Plasko's motion?
Did,
Ms. Grove?
do we also want to include the language around stormwater? I know we said we don't feel like we
I
need
think
to.
I'm satisfied
but-
that would, should the project move forward, be addressed with the zoning board of appeals. We could even,
I think the zoning board of appeals, but even the building inspector, I mean, it's got to meet codes.
yeah, but I think it would be nice to exceed the requirement if possible.
Mhm.
But I don't think it needs to be a condition as to what Mr. Plasko stated.
On the motion, Mr. Sad.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman, I'm just listening to your comments and some of the others. My question is, if they go to the Board of Appeals and they don't get permission, they don't get their 4 votes, what's the avenue, Mr. Manager, for the town tearing down this blighted building and forcing him to tear it down?
Say that again?
Tearing down that blighted building?
You better talk to the building inspector.
Yeah, there's a basis known as a board of survey process,
Yeah.
but it's complicated, and even though the building is certainly visually blighted,
Yeah.
and, it would be terrible if somebody took a torch to it or something like that. The process to go through that is complicated and it's costly. It can happen, but honestly, I think we would have done that already if we felt the board of survey process would work for that building.
All right, I'm just thinking towns like Westwood and Dover, they would probably jump on that, but we'll look at that down the road.
Thank you, Mr.
That's it.
Sad. Okay, so any more discussion on Mr. Plasko's motion, which has been seconded by Ms. Grove? Seeing none, I will poll the board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
2 noes. It carries 3 to 2. Thank you, Mr. Corrigan, Mr. Mackey.
Thank you very much.
Members of the board, thank
Thank you
you,
both.
folks, for the diligence you've shown in presenting this information to us, but, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night. All right, now we are returning to our regular business. We do have, coming up at 8 o'clock, our final appointment of the evening, which is with Allison Donohue, coach of the Norwood High School Girls Field Hockey Team. But I believe we have the opportunity to get through much of our remaining agenda for the rest of the evening. First order, next up is 4.4. This is a car wash for Boy Scout Troop 49, submitting a request. Troop 49 is submitting a request to host a car wash on Saturday, April the 12th, 2025, and Saturday, June 14th, 2025, in the municipal lot from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m.
Motion to approve?
Seconded by
Second.
Ms. Grove. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. It's 4.5. It's another car wash. Gonna be that time of the year, I guess. Car wash, Norwood High School Boys Lacrosse. They are submitting a request for a car wash on May 3rd, 2025, in the municipal lot from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. This is for the Norwood High School Boys Lacrosse team. Do I have a motion? Once again, it is, the cross team is submitting a request to have a car wash on Saturday, May 3rd, 2025, in the municipal lot from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Ms. Woodard, I'm assuming that is the lacrosse team? Yes, okay, thank you for the clarification. Do I have a motion?
Motion
Mr.
to-
Sad, seconded by Ms. Grove. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0. Now we have 4.6. This is Town Common Use, Norwood Police Department, submitting a request from the Norwood Police Department to use the Town Common and Dempsey Bandstand for National Night Out on Tuesday, August 5th, 2025, from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m., with approximately 500 attendees expected. Do I have a motion from the board?
A motion to approve?
Mr. Lane, seconded by Mr. Plasko. Any discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, it's 5-0. 4.7, this is a town common use request. It's from the United Church of Norwood, submitting a request to use the town common for the annual back-to-school event sponsored by the United Church of Norwood on Saturday, August the 23rd, from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. This request includes setting up a few tables for display, lawn games, and a DJ. A motion, the pleasure of the board. Do I have a motion, or
Does that,
Do
just
I
a
have a
point of
motion?
information, does that bother Summerfest or anything?
no? It's a Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. I believe it's, I'm sorry, the 23rd. I think it's a Saturday,
Yeah.
Ms. Woodward, yeah. So no, it would not. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do we have any discussion on the motion? I'll look for a second first. Mr. Lane, any discussion on 4.7? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0 carries. 4.8, for a signature of the board, cemetery deeds. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to sign?
Ms. Grove motions to sign. Do we have a second? Mr. Lane seconds on cemetery deeds. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0 carries. Next item of business is item number 5. This is memoranda. Do I have a motion from the board regarding memoranda? We have 2 items of memoranda: Xfinity Programming Advisory and Norwood Light Broadband submitting correspondence regarding
Motion
annual
to
complaint
file, accept and file?
made by Mr. Lane.
Second on my motion, though, Mr. Chairman,
Mhm.
I'm not happy with Xfinity with Nesson and the Celtics channel and the Red Sox channel for killing my station. So I'm switching to Norwood Cable tomorrow morning because nobody seems to understand the rule of law in America. They just canceled on all us Xfinity members. So being a loyal member for 34 years with Xfinity, and now I'm going to switch to Norwood Cable and be for the next 34 years. So I just want people out there, they're going to start canceling us. You better get moving.
I think that's a good move, Mr. Sad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
On the motion, it's been seconded by Mr. Sad. All in favor of filing a memoranda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, 5-0 carries. And that takes us in, we have a few minutes before at 8 o'clock. Item number 6, this is manager's update. Mr. Mizuko, if you will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only item I'll talk about for just a moment, certainly as the board is aware, we do have a hospital update meeting Thursday. There's not going to be any major announcement one way or another about anything that night, but I think it's important that people show up so we can share what we know and what we've learned, and certainly what our state delegation and what Congressman Lynch have been doing. We're still working out a final order. I will say I have had more contact with the state in the last 24 hours in the hospital than I think I have in the last, feels like 24 years, but probably the last 5 years. So I guess that's a good sign that we so far have been successful in at least getting some attention. What that will transpire to, I have no idea, but at least we're certainly being called, or phones are being answered a little bit more than they have in the past, which is a good thing. So I think Thursday we're just going to lay out some background so everyone's on the same page with sort of where the hospital was, where it is, what we think the need is. Our delegation can outline their efforts to date. We may hear from HHS, the governor's office, by then, some commitment level, which we would like to hear, and where we think we need to go from there, which again, it's somewhat unprecedented in a lot of ways, but at least there has been more communication in the last couple of days, in the last couple of weeks, really, than there has been the last couple of years. So I think that's a good thing.
And I think it's fair to say, Mr. Mizuko, it's out there now that Congressman Lynch had proposed, when we met with him late last year, that he would work towards brokering a meeting with the governor's office, and we'll get an update on Thursday, but that meeting did occur, and you represented the town, and our state delegation was there as well. So, there are balls in the air. Hopefully, we'll be able to kind of give an update to the folks who attend on Thursday at 6:30 at Norwood High School. Just the news about what it means and where we're going, and hopefully, even between now and then, perhaps there's even a little more movement that will shed some more light on the subject. Mr. Lane.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mizuko, is the event going to be broadcast on Norwood Community Media?
We're still working on that. We think we'll be able to have that capacity because there are some folks out of town and from other regions who may not want to be there. Not that we wouldn't necessarily broadcast it locally, but we need people to physically be there. I think the governor needs to understand that we support her in her efforts to help us out. So we need people to physically be there. We think we may be able to make a link available. It wouldn't be available till right before the meeting, but if you're able to be there in person, that's what we need to see.
But if someone couldn't make it, we could figure out a way.
They were out of state and they wanted to pay NCM a fee. No, I'm kidding. We think we'll be able to make that capacity available, but for right now, people should plan on being in person.
Makes more of an
it will be
impact.
recorded and replayed, but for now, people should plan on being in person, and if we're able to make that happen and move things around, we'll do that.
Great, thank you.
And to your point, Mr. Mizuko, the more in the audience physically shows more support for the outreach that we want to do, that we don't want to have an item where, or a meeting where most people are watching online and our auditorium isn't full of people. That a full audience is much more persuasive and impactful for those who we need to reach out to than one that is partially.
We need to make sure that the governor understands that. I think after the meeting she does, the importance to us, the level of support for her and her administration in trying to get something done or trying to help us get something done, but also a potential operator that's out there. They're going to want to see that there is a significant level of community support. Obviously, the big challenge is making sure that the financials work out. In the fugazi math that is hospitals and healthcare financing and funding in this country. But that level of support, I think, is going to be critical. So I would encourage folks, if you're able to be there Thursday night in person at the high school, please come. There's some other events going on at the high school, so parking is going to be a challenge, but it's a good problem to have. So please be there Thursday night if you can.
Mr. Sad?
I want to thank manager and the chairman and the board for pushing this along, but do we want to tell the people out in TV land the Friday noontime meetings and what towns are joining us and?
So, as a reminder, Mr. Sad, this is not a TV show, this is the board's business meeting.
I know, but
So while we
yeah.
certainly want to make sure the public can tell what's going on, it's not TV. We've been trying to keep our municipal partners in other towns updated to the extent that we don't really have updates. I guess that's the challenge. Folks say, what's the update this week? It's either read the Globe or we don't know, but we have been working to make sure that we have a group of municipal officials, selectmen like yourselves, and Board of Health members and public safety leaders in the towns around here. We know that outreach has been positive. Walpole's reached out to the governor's office. I know Westwood is going to have folks there in a couple of nights. The town of Sharon is going to have people there. Westwood actually asked if they could broadcast it to their town. The town of Sharon told me that they were sending staff and other folks there. So we're building that sort of coalition. We've just got to, at some point everyone in one direction of where we're going to go. The support for the hospital is far beyond what we have just here in Norwood. Foxborough said they'd been dealing with some other local issues, but now they're ready to turn their attention to this. So once we know exactly where to go, we can direct a lot of energy and effort. It might be, we don't know yet. Again, things are moving quickly in the last couple hours. We finally got our meeting with the governor, and we're appreciative of her for that. I think she doesn't take meetings sometimes the same ways as I do, is that people walk in there asking for stuff, but we finally got the governor and the Health and Human Services Secretary and the Commissioner of Public Health to meet with us. Congressman Lynch brokered the meeting, so I guess they met with him, but we were there. It's as positive as it can be. It's finally being talked about beyond our borders and beyond our region's borders, which is important. We'll continue to update our municipal officials, but again, a lot of those have been just sharing some construction updates and letting them know that we're gearing up, and this Thursday is part of it, to do something. We're just not 100% sure what it is. It's we're in a relatively unprecedented situation all around. But finally, I think the Commonwealth has heard us, and certainly Representative Rogers and Senator Rush's efforts, as well as other members of the state delegation in the region, have contributed greatly to that.
Thank you, Mr. Sad. Yes.
Just on top of that, is Senator Rush, Rogers, and Congressman Lynch coming Thursday night by any chance?
Sort of, kind of. They've all said their goal is to be there.
Yeah.
It's about schedules and getting things done last minute. And I'm sure, as everyone knows, there's a little bit of stuff going on with the federal government that is throwing state government and state and federal agencies into a little bit of work. I don't know why the world couldn't wait until Norwood got its stuff done to do whatever they were doing, but we recognize our place. So they've all, I believe, said that their goal is to be there, but schedules aren't going to be finalized until that day. It's going to be a little bit by the seat of our pants until we get there, because we're, as I said, I've had more conversations in the last 24, 36 hours with state health officials than I have in the last couple of years on the hospital.
Thank you, Mr. Mizuko. I did notice at my table, I think other members received it, or if not, they'll have it soon. You submitted the first draft of proposed FY26 budget. Do you want to engage us with a discussion of what you'd like us to provide to you in advance of the next meeting?
So we'll be going over in
We'll review the
detail
budget.
at the February 11th meeting, tentatively, again, with a lot of things in flux. So this is our early unaudited draft document. It's still subject to change, but if you could begin reviewing and analyzing it and just letting us know questions you have ahead of time, we'll be able to get them resolved, and we'll let you know whatever changes are when we release a more final version. As you know, there's 58 other steps in the process, but for a more final version for the board to review on the 11th with a tentative vote that day or the following week.
So any questions that we have in regards to the items that are listed on the draft budget? I think the best, we'll address them on the 11th, but if possible, if members can shoot the detail to Mr. Mizuko, allow him some time to conduct any research that might be needed on our questions would be helpful. All right. Anything else, Mr. Mizuko?
I think that's it for today.
Okay. I'm going to pause right here before we go on into our agenda, because Mr. Sad, I think our 8 p.m. guests are here. If they're here,
Allison,
shall we?
ladies, come on in.
Yeah. All of our appointments have been early, so you folks get to be
We
early
get to
as
4
well.
minutes early. Oh, we need a couple of chairs.
Sit right there. We'll bring some more chairs along the back here.
It's just we're down a couple people.
That's fine.
Okay.
Illnesses and schedules and whatnot.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, welcome. Make yourselves comfortable.
Are you expecting anyone else, or just?
No, that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect.
Mike's going to introduce the
So we
top.
have Emily and Ava Hines.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Allison Dolan, I've known her and the family for a long time. And I want to say it's a pleasure to bring them up tonight, and the team, and the captains, and these unbelievable athletes. You know, when you tell the coach if he or she has, like Sam, the it factor, Allison has the it factor to win, to strive for excellence, and these girls have demonstrated for the last 8 or 10 years as her tenure with coaching, but the last 2 years has been unbelievable. Allison was the head coach for the Norwood High School field hockey team the past 12 seasons. Her teams amassed 140 wins with 3 Tri-Valley championships, 2 Division II Final Fours, and 2 Division II final appearances. Coach of the Year, Division II this past year. All the kids, which everyone's going to name off one on this list, speak with their record, but I just want to say, and I'll close it at the end, but I just want to say to your coaches, your family, your teammates, the school on the Hill, congratulations. I know that was a tough loss last year. This was a tough loss this year. And in my eyes, you're a state champion. You'll always be a state champion for you and your team. So congratulations, and I'll pass it off to Amanda, and she's going to take Emily.
So, and just make sure you correct me if I get this wrong, but I believe the last name is Spadorcia?
Spadorcia, yes.
Spadorcia?
Better than some of the announcers.
Emily Spadorcia. A forward for the Mustangs. She finished the season with 14 goals and 22 assists. Her overall ends her career with 22 goals and 36 assists. Tri-Valley League All-Star this year, and Emily will be continuing to play field hockey at Bentley University next fall.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Am I next?
Sure, go ahead.
I
Down the list.
have Captain Shay Larkey, who is not here today, but I have an impressive report on Captain Shay. She finished the season with 45 goals and 18 assists. Overall, ends her career with 101 goals and 50 assists after missing her sophomore season with an injury. She is a Tri-Valley League All-Star this year and a Tri-Valley League MVP. Shay was Globe and Herald All-Scholastic, as well as Boston Globe D2 Player of the Year. During the season, Shay was also selected as the National Field Hockey Coaches Association Player of the Year Player of the Month for September. Finally, Shay was also selected to Max Field Hockey's 2024 All-Region team for the New England region, and she will continue to play field hockey next year at Cornell. So even though she's not with us, we are.
She is part of the swim and dive team, so
Yeah.
they're winter sports.
Please extend our congratulations to Shay. It's very impressive.
I'm going to speak about one of the hearts and souls of the team's goalie, Captain Ava O'Neill. This season, she had a 89% save percentage with 186 saves on 209 shots and was 2 for 2 in penalty shot saves. Overall, she ends her career with an 88% save percentage. She's a Tri-Valley League All-Star this year, as well as a Globe and Herald All-Scholastic. And congratulations to all of you for your efforts and success.
Thank you.
Great. I'm going to speak on 2 players. One of you, Ava. Ava Hines. Midfielder for the Mustangs. She finished the season with 3 goals and 4 assists. Overall, ends her career with 7 goals and 13 assists. Ava had the clutch assist in the Final Four game to tie the game at 2-2 against Canton and really helped spark the comeback. She was a Tri-Valley League All-Star this year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent. And also, I'll speak to Evan. Is it Evan O'Neill?
Evan O'Neill, yeah.
Who is not here.
Yep.
Yep.
The flow.
Evan played a huge role on defense for the Mustangs, last year's Most Improved Award winner. She was huge for us in the playoffs, shutting down some really strong opposing players. She ends this season with 4 defensive saves. Overall, ends her career with 6 defensive saves. So congratulations, Evan. And congratulations to you, Coach.
And there were some other seniors too that played huge roles. Those were the 5 that were going to be here. But Bridget Conley, Bridget Sopel, and Morgan Nauman were kind of made up that group of 8 seniors that were just remarkable for us last season and this season, and were a huge part of the success that the team saw.
Awesome.
Well, I can tell you're a good coach because you're not just sitting here just talking about your win-loss record, but you did such a nice job with these young ladies just describing their achievements at this sport, and you should be proud of that as well as your win-loss record, which is very, very impressive.
That's all.
Mr.
That's all a reflection on the players. They're the ones out there.
Anything else you need to add, the girls, you wanna speak?
I just wanted to say, like, I love all my teammates. I've had such an amazing past 4 years, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, kind of the same thing as what Ava said.
Emily, great goal the other day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wish you
So
could take up golf with your dad.
They're both part of the girls hockey team at Norwood High as
Who are
well.
seniors that you're losing and who's staying on so you can have more success next year?
So we're graduating 8 of the, I think there were 19 on varsity this year. So we have 11 coming back. Some of our juniors are Regan Pritchard, Cece Indek, Katie Malley, and Bridget Kidd. Will be the senior class for next year. So we'll look to them to
Good
kind
point,
of
come
keep
back
leading.
next year.
So I will not be back next year. No, this was my last season. I have 2 little boys, so they're getting into all the things. So the schedules have been hard, but it's been an amazing past. I've been with the program for 15 years and head coach is 12, so it's been a really fun ride.
Great job, thank you.
I was gonna bring that up, but
Oh.
Bill brought, same
Yeah.
member brought Bill to the punch, but I just wanna say for the board and the town of Millwood, congratulations. In our eyes, you're state champions, you got robbed on it 2 years in a row. You're going out with high hat, and you've got the it factor. So, congratulations. You did all you could in your whole career, in college, in high school, and now coaching, so you're going on a high note. So, girls, congratulations.
Thank
Push
you.
your team- Push your team so we can get them in next year.
Yeah,
and-
yes, yeah.
That's it.
Thank you so much
Congratulations,
for
and win
having
the
us.
state
We really
championship in hockey
appreciate
now.
it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ellen.
thank you so much.
ladies.
Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board.
Thank you, Mr. Sad, for organizing that. That was great. So we have finished with the manager's update. I'll now move on to Selectmen's addenda, and I'm going to start with Ms. Grow, if I could.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My only update for us tonight is just, we're having copy edits, last text changes on the goals. You'd seen the 4 sort order list before, now we're getting the sort of final language around them. So we're hoping to have that done essentially this week. So
Yes.
short and sweet.
And hopefully be able to bring the official document, if you will, at our next meeting. Should be good. Mr. Plasko.
Thank you. Last meeting, I asked about an update on the situation with 20 Vernon Street. Have we got an answer?
On 20 Vernon Street, no, staff were, the planning director's been out for a little while. I will have an update for you at your next meeting.
Yeah, that should be a phone call, so. Next one I have is not pleasant. Occasionally I have brought up in private and a couple times at board meetings, things that I think should be brought to this board that aren't being brought to this board. And recently, just the other night, flipping the old TV with nothing to do, I see a CPC meeting. Now, last I recall, unless I misinterpreted what we were told that general government had withdrawn all its applications with the CPC this year. But there was Mr. White and Mr. Ryan with 2 proposals for, I think, about $200,000 for down behind the Bald School. Plans to have to do with town property under our jurisdiction that was surprised to see because it's never been brought to us, we've never been updated, we've never been discussed with us, never got our approval. Part of the approval for the CPC is to have anything with town property, to have this board sign off on it. We haven't signed off on anything because we haven't heard about anything.
Is it the Baltran
And this
project?
and this is not, I'm not discussing the merits of the proposals, because I may very well be 100% behind both of those proposals. It's the principle of how this is happening, and that this board is being skipped in the early processes of where matters should be brought and the board should be updated. And particularly with the CPC, because that process requires us to sign the application. I don't know how they got there. And I would have brought it up when Mr. White was here, but he's new, and they're your employees, you're our employee. So you have to make that clear to your department heads, and you have to bring these matters to us.
Correct. Do you recall the 2 projects?
One was the handicap ramp situation.
Because I believe that's an
And-
additional appropriation. I don't know if that matters, but that's been,
And one was for, Mr. Ryan was speaking, and actually I only turned it on as he was finishing, but it appeared he was suggesting doing a study, getting money to have a study done to see about a couple of rectangular fields in the outfield of the baseball field.
So we can bring every single thing that goes to the board. When we define general government, let me ask you a question. Does that include conservation? Part of general government. They
No,
have different.
Conservation's in charge of their property, we're not.
Correct, but those are our employees, they're my employees, we insure their
not
properties,
something
we
we
allocate to the
control.
budget. So if it's not conservation, but anything else because it's really everything that the town touches.
It's not schools. It's not technically the airport, but pretty much everything else. Yeah, we're pretty much in charge of everything else. If it's a major project, and in this
If it's
case,
a major project or if it's any project?
and well, any project, I don't expect, it's your job and their job to manage the departments. So I'll bring you on some of these new programs and all the things, for example, that Mr. White spoke about. That's their job. We're not gonna approve every one of those. But the projects, things that have to do with the property, we may not want to spend that money, even though it's CPC money, because we might be thinking down the road of a different project that we don't want to lose the money for. So it's good to know what's going on, not find out after the fact.
So,
And particularly this case where it was CPC, and we didn't sign off on anything. Why are they there? We've got a whole process set up.
so you want any project related to the town to be approved by this board when? Before it goes to
No,
CPC?
I don't think that's what Mr. Plasko's suggesting. I think this is probably just a study in what are the, and I think it's a fair point. I think there is some confusion. So we've had applications that were reviewed. So I think we want to just get some clarity regarding, we have projects that we recently reviewed at the jail behind us, as well as
Denied, yeah.
the property on Route 1, the old waterworks. And I know when we put the application through for the Morris Hill Park, you know, I led that, but I briefed the board on that. So, you know, I think there's a way that we can probably just work out for lack of a better term, a process or a procedure that said the board, when it comes to CPC projects, you know, I've noted that if it's related to DPW, the cemetery, the parks, recreation, any properties controlled by the Board of Selectmen, perhaps those are the categories where I think we need to work on. Divorce that or separate those from properties that are CPC applications that are perhaps things controlled by the school department or things controlled by the Conservation Commission.
So, but all projects, regardless of size or cost, that come before CPA.
If it's a
that are
policy matter, if it's changing the
Well-
use of the property, we do policies, procedures.
Correct.
You do day-to-day management.
So I guess
Anything
that's
to
what
do
I'm,
with policies, procedures, changing properties comes to us. I don't know why you don't understand this.
well, I'll
Quite
be honest
frankly,
with
we've talked about this several times.
you, and that's why I'm asking for clarification. With all due respect, are you saying everything? You're saying if it's policy, so then I get to decide if it's policy or not, or just bring it to everyone? Is a study to look at the fields
You
being
don't get to
rearranged
decide
policy?
any policies, you manage.
That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is all projects, you're saying no if it involves policy. So who makes the decision that involves policy?
Hopefully, it's pretty clear.
Well, but then the board's gonna just look at everything. And there's not a million CPC projects that
If you want to be that immature about everything, go right ahead.
I don't. I'm just looking for some clarity.
Just do it again and see what motion get made.
Whatever the board wants,
Just-
I'm more than
just-
happy to
Just leave it
do.
at that. Can't believe you're being this immature about this and don't understand English. Want to fight just to fight?
Yeah.
We can fight.
I want clarification. that's all.
You know, as
I'll put it in writing for you, and then it'll be very clear. We got a bunch of policies, we'll have everything done by policies.
as chair of the board, you know, I'll volunteer myself to just, you know, Mr. Plasko, you and I can meet, and, you know, Mr. Mizuko, I can perhaps act as the conduit for discussion regarding how we would implement any changes to our review of the CPC projects. But I don't think we're going to solve that this evening. So if, Mr. Plasko, if you're satisfied with that, we'll put that as a to-do. Anything else, Mr. Plasko?
Done, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lane?
All set, thank you,
Okay. Mr. Sad?
I'm not sure if you're gonna mention Washington 7, but I'll leave it up to you, Mr.
You
Chairman.
can mention it, Mr. Sad.
No, they have an open house for next couple of weeks, but I'll let you deal with that. But I have a question, well, actually, for the manager. West Street, Elliott, a couple of people in Crescent, when the high school was built, they said that they were gonna retire it, but I don't know if it's on the list for Mr. Ryan. If you could just check on those.
Just where they are on the replacement list?
Yeah,
Okay.
tiring.
West Elliott, what's the other one?
Crescent. And then Allendale and St. Paul, when they put the light at the Haas Pool, it backs up, and some of the people in Allendale and St. Paul call me, they want to look at maybe putting those paintings that don't block the intersection so people come out and can take a left to Norwood Center. So maybe Mark and somebody can check on that, the safety committee.
We can send that.
Yep, and then I just want to say congratulations to the North Walpole Fishing Game Club for a spectacular ice derby on Saturday. I went out there with my skates with my kid. I fell on my back, hurt my back, but I'm doing okay. But some big fish were caught. Everybody had a great time. And I want to thank Peter and the whole gang up there in the club for a spectacular day for the people who came from Foxborough, Rentham, Sharon, Walpole, Westwood, Dedham. And there was a big crowd of 150 people, and it was just a spectacular afternoon. So I want to thank all of them and congratulate them. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Sad. To your earlier point, yeah, we do have the flyer here from Washington number 7 Public House, the grand opening, February 1st, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So that's the official grand opening that's occurring this coming weekend. So thank you for reminding me of that, Mr. Sad. I just have a couple of things. I mentioned this when we had the Veterans Agent here, but you know, with the Morris Hill Veterans Memorial Park, 99.9% completed. I'm going to work with scheduling a rededication of the park. Right now, I'm asking the board members to just save the date of March 29th. It's a Saturday at 3 p.m. With a snow date for March the 30th at 3 p.m. So more information to come regarding that. But the park is now I call it completed, and it's time for a rededication ceremony to celebrate the park. Kudos to the Trails Committee. My wife and I did do a trails walk on Sunday to the Pine Tree Forest. Yes, there is a Pine Tree Forest here in Norwood. Had a good turnout, 20 to 25 people on a winter's day. It was very nice. Finally, just another shout out. We had our first, Norwood Concert Committee had their first concert of the season this past Sunday at 2 p.m. at Norwood High. Next week at 2 p.m. at Norwood High School, the Roy Scott Big Band is going to be the performing band for that time slot, and 2 more concerts after that in the February 2nd and February 9th. I'm sorry, 2 more concerts right through the middle of February, which I'll have opportunity to remind folks about at a later date. It is posted on the Norwood Facebook page. Staff doing a great job publicizing the concerts. We had about 150 people there on Sunday, which is a pretty good turnout considering it was the first show of the season. So that is all I have for the addenda. We're not quite through. We do have an executive session scheduled for this evening, and we will go into executive session, but we'll return only for the purposes of adjournment. I will read the notice for the executive session. Purpose 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session and then poll the board.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. On the motion to go into executive session, Mr. Sad?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Plasko?
Yes.
Ms. Groh?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. That's 5-0. Again, folks, we will only return to open session for the purpose of adjournment. We are now in executive session.